Now I'm really on. Hey! It is such an incredible joy to be celebrating Shabbat here in our sanctuary. It's gonna be a different kind of Shabbat tonight. It's what we're calling a terrifically texty Shabbat. So when Beth is not here, traditionally we call it a totally texty Shabbat, which is our code language for watch out, Cari can't sing. But on last Friday night, Beth said, and look out for a terrifically or a totally texty Shabbat. And we got an email. We got an email that, honest to goodness, made me cry. Because I thought, well, this is so incredibly, generously, wonderfully, amazingly Shir Tikvah. To get an email that says, hey, any chance we can come be part of the music of Shabbat with Temple Shir Tikvah? To which I, of course, responded, no, I got it. And I just could not have woken up on a Shabbat morning to a more beautiful example of what it means to come together in community. To have an email from Sam, from Ari, from Ellie saying, we play music. We know these songs. You see our faces very often on the square back there. And you remember, Ellie, I'm going to embarrass you, I'm sorry, when Ellie used to come in her jammies still. Because she's been coming to services since she was that little on Friday nights. And so instead of coming and kind of tipping over and falling asleep on her mom's shoulder, they are going to help lead our service tonight with their musicality, their family's musicality. And so how good it is indeed to be part of a community that sees a need, that says, hey, I think I can help. Can you help me help? And then leans in and leads together. And that's what this is going to be. We're going to lean into each other in song, in some terrific moments of text study as well. An opportunity will pause in each of the different segments of the service to discuss where we are in the service, why we're there in the service, how we got there in the service, what it means. And then we'll go back to singing joyfully and praying joyfully in community together. Because that's what we do. We dig deep, we make meaning, we ask questions, and then when there aren't definitive answers, we proceed together in song. So how incredible, how good it is to be with you all tonight, to be here in our community. And we'll start with those very words, Hine ma tov, how good it is to be together.
You all help too. Mm-hmm. We need all of us to fill that shoes here.
הנה מה טוב שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, הנה מה טוב שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים. continue with the words Shabbat Shalom, wishing each other a Sabbath of peace, of wholeness, of rejuvenation, and of course the words written on Sinai, bim, bam, bim, 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 bam, bim, 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 bam.
Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam, bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam. Shabbat shalom, hey, Shabbat shalom, hey, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom.
Good job.
You're off to a solid start. So we are in the very beginning of our service in this time we call Kabbalat Shabbat, the welcoming of Shabbat. And it's a time before the liturgy of the evening service even begins. It's actually a very late addition to our liturgy. If most of our liturgy is 1500 plus-ish, plus 500 or in one way or another, plus or minus. My math skills are amazing, by the way. If that's where most of our liturgy lands, Kabbalat Shabbat comes much, much later. It comes from the Kabbalists living in the north, in Sfat, in the north of Israel. And they had this idea that when you entered Shabbat, you couldn't just enter Shabbat. It wasn't going to feel right. It's the same prayers and the same blessings that you would use to enter any other service in an evening service. So if you were accustomed to praying morning and evening, well, they didn't want you just walking in to your Friday evening as if it was Thursday evening, right? So how do you prepare? How do you think about the fact that when you sing these blessings, it's for a different purpose than it might be on the other days? And the Kabbalistic way of preparing was to sing psalms. To sing psalms, you would sing Psalm 95 all the way through 99. You would sing them in a row. You would sing them joyfully, fervently. You can repeat them more than you can repeat liturgy in a traditional setting, and it would really sort of set the mood to enter into Shabbat. And then just when you reached Psalm 99, you would prepare with a new written song called L'Chadodi. L'Chadodi was written just very, very late, right in this Kabbalistic period by Solomon ben Moses Halevi Alkabetz. I know you're all going to remember his name. And the way you're going to remember his name is that he wrote his name into L'Chadodi. So if you have a book in front of you, you don't have to, but if you do and you're on page 11, if you look at the first letter of each of the stanzas, you've got a shin, a lamed, a mem, right? Shlomo, ben Moses, Halevi, right? So he snuck his initials into this psalm that you are supposed to use to sing your way into Shabbat. And it got me to thinking, well, how do we prepare for Shabbat now? How do we prepare for Shabbat now? As a community, as individuals, how do we take those steps so that when we walk into this experience we call Friday night prayer, Friday night service, Friday night community time, whatever it is you're coming here for, how do we well, some people are coming for oneg. You can't fool me. I know, I'm watching you, and some of you are really in it for the cookies. I like them too. So how do you get ready for Shabbat? It's a question. How do you get ready for Shabbat? And then I have a little text for you, and then we're going to light the candles and actually bring Shabbat in, having thought a little bit about how we get there. Other than driving to Winchester, other than that, which I will give you, is its own sacred preparation, how do you get ready for Shabbat? Oh, you have to, because otherwise if there are people online, they have to hear.
I just try to slow down during the day. I may be busy in the mornings, but as the day progresses, I start taking things off my plate.
It's very Israeli of you. Martha slows down as the day goes through, and she prepares by planning. We must take some planning, right? Yeah. Okay. Who else has a preparation? Barry.
I do something really simple. I call my sister.
Every week?
Just about, not always, but mostly. Yeah, and sometimes my son calls me and wishes me Shabbat Shalom.
So you have set a precedent that the next generation has picked up of using that time in connection to one another. Anybody else have a pattern, a habit, preparation for Shabbat that is meaningful for them? Yeah, Lori.
I like going in my drawer and picking out the Shabbat candles and putting them into the candle holders.
You can see that this time is coming in your preparation. You lay out the candles waiting, ready for you. Other ways people have or have thought about preparing?
I either make challah or I pull one of my mini challahs out of my freezer because I make one batch of dough, but I make 4 little challahs so I don't have to make it once a month. I have to bake.
Man, there is so much brilliance in that. We bake challah, that smell to fill your house. Incredible, Lynn.
Log out of Epic, and then get cleaned up and wear something better than what I wear to go walking in the woods.
Oh, yeah. You say goodbye to something that you do throughout the rest of the week that can follow you around, and you create a sense of differentiation in how you're proceeding into this part that's next, right? How incredible. So if we can bring up the text about Shabbat celebration, the one before this one, ideally. Nope, even before that one. We're gonna get there. Spoiler! All right, there are 4 dimensions to the observance of Shabbat. Well, that's a mouthful in and of itself. 2 originating in the Torah, and 2 originating in the words of the sages, which are given exposition by the prophets. The 2 dimensions originating in the Torah are the commandments, remember the Sabbath day, and observe the Sabbath day. The 2 dimensions given exposition by the prophets are honor and pleasure. As in Isaiah, when he states, "And you shall call the Sabbath a delight, sanctified unto God, and honored." So according to this text, what are the 4 elements of celebrating Shabbat? It's a doozer in sentence structure, admittedly. Okay, you got it. You remember it, you observe it, you give it honor, and you take pleasure.
Oh, and then we can multiply like the sages did, we can also call it delight.
We could, so if delight, we could either say delight is pleasure or something bigger, but yeah, there are 4 ways to acknowledge Shabbat. They source them, 2 are biblical and 2 are either later biblical or, rabbinic. But what's your take on these 4? What do you think about these ideas that Shabbat can be honored or delighted in, that it can be remembered or observed? Questions about it, thoughts about it, reactions to it. You're never this quiet. Come on. Nah. I know you all way too well. I've been here 10 years. Cut it out.
Okay, I'm going to admit that I don't always do all 4 every night.
Yeah, okay,
Every day.
perfect. Right, what a great thing to admit. Did you all hear that? Shouldn't do all 4 every week, right? That seems like a lot of Shabbat.
First of all, I'm terrible about calendars. So Sue reminds me that it's Friday. She reminds me. And then I think of a little bit about whether I'm going to observe it or not, because some days I'm too overwhelmed to come in. And so whether I'm going to observe it here. That's a better way to put it. And then once I get here, I take great joy and pleasure. And I also honor it.
So in the different stages of deciding what your relationship with Shabbat is going to be on any given week, you may or may not be incorporating all, half, none, some of these 4, right? How many of you can relate to that idea? Yeah? All right. Other comments about these 4? Amy, yeah.
I don't really know what it means to honor it.
Don't really know what it means to honor it. How many of you can, yeah?
One thing I noticed.
Wait, you can't. Otherwise, I don't even know if anybody's online, but if they are, they have to hear you.
One thing I noticed in the one trip to Israel that I had was how everyone honors it. It is a greeting. It is like the first thing out of their mouth. And I really like that.
That Shabbat Shalom with enthusiasm and meaning. And when you're in Israel, the sense that the time has really shifted and changed around you, and that the community is acknowledging it, not just you as an individual. Yeah, well said. Yeah, Neil.
I guess what comes up for me is there's something grounding about these 4, or even a subset, and balanced in terms of the pleasure part, maybe both honor and pleasure, to offset their near enemies or whatever.
Yeah, so that they may be in balance with each other, and they may be things that you need to balance within yourself in your practice. In your approach to Shabbat. Yeah, Chris.
So I'm seeing them as sort of stages. The first is what is recognizing that, here's Shabbat, Shabbat is coming. And then the second is sort of the observance, or the traditional observance of all the things that you don't do on Shabbat. And then honoring is akin, to me, that's sort of the ritual associated with Shabbat. And then after the ritual, you have the oneg and the delight.
That's why we're here, right? Well, I love that you can think of these as stepwise and opportunities to move into Shabbat more deeply, ending in one or the other. Aaron, yeah.
So I had the same question that Amy did about what does honor mean.
It's dangerous.
And the thing that occurred to me is that the other 3 are something you do in the occasion. Honor may be something you do by doing it every week.
Interesting that there's a regularity, kind of like what Barry was saying in terms of, most weeks I call, right? That there's a pattern to the behavior that enhances the nature of it. Yeah. Other comments? Yeah, Bill. Sorry.
In a way, it seems that getting yourself here and being at the service is sort of a way of honoring Shabbat.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're saying, this is a special day, I come here, this is what I do on Friday night, and it makes it a special thing.
Yeah.
It's out of the ordinary.
Mm-hmm. I love that, out of the ordinary, right? That there's an idea that in each of these, in honor, but potentially in each of these 4 words with recognition or a mindful approach to them, that there's the ability to lift out of the ordinary or lift something ordinary into a different awareness, right? And I think that's very much what Kabbalat Shabbat is an attempt to do. It's an attempt to say, listen, many Jews pray every night, and they say these same words. They don't change that much they change a little for Shabbat, and we'll get to that by 10 p.m. They change a little for Shabbat, but in fact, it is your attention to these words, to these actions, to this honor that you're given to it, that will change your experience of it. And so I hope that although it is different tonight how we are choosing to honor Shabbat, that we are going to take these moments to pause and really dig into the text and learn and reflect. And then we're going to take these moments of incredible joy and music and all that we are used to on Shabbat. I hope that we find in this difference the opportunity to have our attention refocused on how we experience our prayers, our liturgy, which are inherently repetitive. That's how they're built. So we're going to light these candles. We're going to bring the light of Shabbat in. You 3. Yeah, come on up. The blessing is right here. Page 1. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Make sure you Shabbat Shalom somebody near you and know their name.
Sorry.
And we turn to page 11 with our new friends for Lecha Dodi. We're going to do the brief one. We're not going to spell out Shlomo ben Moses Halevi Alkabetz's name, but we're going to know it's there. we turn to page 15 and rise in body or in spirit for the Chatzi Kaddish.
Yikada, Yikada, Shemei Rava. Ve'alma divrach hirtei, ve'amlich malchutei, v'chayechon uv'yomechon, uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, uv'izman kariv, v'yimeru amen. Yehi shmei Rabba melarach, le'olam u'lam me'omaya, yitbarach, yitbarach, ve'yishtabach, ve'yipa'ar, v'yitramam, v'yitnaseh, ve'yitadar, ve'yitaleh, ve'yitalal, shmei d'kudusha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbehata v'nehemata, damiran b'yalma, v'yimeru amen.
You may be seated. So that Chatzi Kaddish marks the end of that first section of the service, the Kabbalat Shabbat service. When you hear a Kaddish in services, and you'll hear more of them the more traditional the shul you're in, it's a signal that they're dividing sections of the service. So for those of you who've wondered why we do a mourner's Kaddish at the end and a Chatzi Kaddish in sort of the middle, let's call it the first third. And if you were careful in your reading of the book, you'd see a learner's Kaddish in there and all sorts of other, there are many of them, is my point. And if you're doing a full liturgy from top to bottom, they are used to differentiate as you move from one section to the other. So this one has told you that you're about to enter the Shema and her blessings. So this is one of those parts of the service that will happen if you're praying an evening service during the week or an evening service on Shabbat, right? So if Kabbalat Shabbat was all about, oh, this day is different, this next part of the service is in part about, well, this is the routine as well, that the difference stands in the place of, in the midst of the routine, let's say. And so I want to talk a little bit about this next section of the Shema and her blessings before we do them, okay? And I think you've seen this quote before, but let's read it again. Anybody want to be my reader? Yeah, great, Melissa. Sorry, unprepared.
Martin Luther King Jr. reminded us that the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice.
Probably many of you have heard that quote before. Yeah? What's your reaction, relationship to it? What do you think when you've heard it, when you've encountered it before? What has been your response? Yeah.
I find it really hopeful because I easily get discouraged about how much is not being done. And so to be reminded that we're moving there is very hopeful.
Beautiful. The reminder of hope. Yeah, nice. Even when we don't see the movement ourselves, right? Mm-hmm. Lynn?
Well, I think it's interesting that you put it in the part where we're going to talk about the Shema. And the Shema is a statement a basic statement of faith. And I think for a man like him to have said something like that, that was a huge statement of faith, because he couldn't have done what he did if he didn't have faith.
Okay, so this, you brought up two pieces here. The definition of the Shema is a statement of faith, which, boy, we're going to be here a long time tonight. It is definitely one way to read the Shema is absolutely a statement of faith, 100%. And his faith is a huge part of what motivated him to have the energy and the power, the courage, the fortitude, the wherewithal in the face of what he was facing, right? To keep moving and keep believing that it could be better, and that he could be a part of making that arc change, right? And faith has played a role for many people in that way. Absolutely, yes. Yeah. Other reactions to this? To why I have it in front of the Shema, as Lynn points out? Yeah, Barry.
I'll try this out. It makes me think that it's a long process, that the world is a tough place to live in sometimes, and morally it's very tough. But, you know, it goes on for a long time, and it bends toward justice, which is pretty good. Right? It doesn't go towards justice, it's bending, which is... makes me think of a rainbow, but bending it's a gentle push toward what you want to go toward, which is justice.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Thank you. So that bend that Barry points out here, that's also part of what looks like a line to us. If I put it down, do you not have to turn me off? Sorry, Don. I can be tall. Medium-aged dog, new tricks. So if we go to the next slide, this doesn't quite look like what Barry said, but instead of reading it across the top, read the bottom. Does that look like a curve to you? Okay. That's not by accident. It's not just because the boxes didn't fit. It's because I had a professor, Larry Hoffman. I have this in my office, so if you want this, you can email me and I can send you the picture. My professor, Larry Hoffman, talks about the Shema and her blessings as an arc. Okay, surrounding the high point, that's the summit, right? Hikers, this is the summit. Okay, now, the high point, the summit, is the Shema, as Lynn was saying. It's whether it's a statement of faith or a definition of the unity of all life, or a statement about the oneness of God. Any interpretation probably can be fit in somewhere within Jewish understanding of what the Shema means. But the rabbis wrote an arc, a moral arc, around that oneness. And that moral arc starts when we call each other home with our baruch. And once we've called each other home with our baruch, we enter into what the rabbis thought was the story of the universe. And I don't think I'm oversimplifying it to say that. They thought that we could tell the story around this idea of oneness that started with acts of creation and creativity and continued with acts of love and relationship through the covenant, and continued into that Shema, that sentence that said it's all connected, it's all echad, it's all one. Listen, stand in witness to it, and then continued on. If we could only take this journey with words of redemption, with words of justice, when the Israelites were allowed to cross free. But just as the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King spoke about a just universe in the midst of a world that was the opposite of just. I think so too did the rabbis sing words of freedom, michamocha, of redemption, in a world that was not there. As a way to say, it's bending. It's not there yet, but it's bending. And you have to keep on the road. You have to keep on the road of creation, of relationship, of acknowledgement of the unity of all life. And if you keep on that road, we might just begin to see the bend in a way in our lifetime. What do you think? You like it? You hate it? You disagree with it? Well, tell me what your reaction is to it. You heard it before? Well, I think I taught it, but what do you think? You think that's what the rabbis are saying? Could be. Can't judge a rabbi, right? By the way, I apologize. When I use the term rabbis, or the rabbis in particular, I don't mean me, right? I'm a rabbi. The rabbis are the ones who wrote our texts and our liturgical tradition, and probably had more facial hair than I do.
I was just going to say that basically this understanding that you're talking about of the Shema is the reason why I converted to Judaism. And that idea that this is a process, it's a journey. Oh, sorry. I said that this teaching about the Shema is basically why I converted to Judaism. That the idea that it's a process, that we're moving towards the oneness, and yet it's already there in the Jewish understanding of life and all that advice. So.
What do you think? Yeah, Amy, in here. Yeah, you can go opposite order this time.
So I never thought about the Shema as a statement of all of us being one. That was really, it's not what the words say, and I never, right? Word is one, I don't know, whatever translation I grew up with. And I'm just really struck by that.
Yeah. Does it change your experience of this journey? If that's, yeah.
Obviously I can't know what the rabbis were thinking, but in a sense, I'm not sure it matters. I think that if we infuse it with this meaning and ascribe it to them, we've both given it meaning and we've made a connection to our ancestors.
Well, and the rabbis are good at nothing if not ascribing their intention to generations before, so we're very much in their tradition if we do it. Yeah. Other thoughts? Who's heard of this idea that the Shema is not just the statement that God is one, but additionally that all life is interconnected and one? Yes, some people have encountered it and some people not. Yeah, so it is a deep, yeah, Laura, you have a, yep.
I was just going to say that I really like the pairing of Martin Luther King's quote about the arc of the universe and the Shema, because so Martin Luther King was speaking to a group of people and speaking in an inspirational, hopeful way when things were really, really hard. And the Shema, like as you're talking about the rabbis, like a kind of speaking for a group of people when things can be really, really hard, to just like stick together, stick to our oneness, and be true to our values. And then there's that kind of hopeful quality that will make some progress.
Right, I love that. The rabbis were living in a very particular version of a hard world, right, where they wrote this story. But I think it was Barry, as you pointed out, it's not an easy world now, right, to exist in. There's almost nobody I know who doesn't live with some level of suffering and pain, difficulty. And so to think, right, that this story is available to us as a collective and to us as individuals, right, that each of us are potentially on our way through a journey that might end with something that we pray feels like redemption, is a pretty powerful idea, or for anyone at any time. I'm going to give Lynn final comment, and then we're going to actually pray the Shema and her blessings.
Okay, I took a photo of that slide so I could read it. And so that is actually the Cliff Notes version of the entire Torah. And so God created... Okay, you don't have to read it. God created the universe. God revealed God's law, God's culture, whatever God wanted to Moses and to the people at Sinai. And then God took them out of a narrow place, and don't you ever forget that. And that's the Torah.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. It's the whole Megillah, as they say in some places and on some holidays. So with that, we are going to turn to those words to call each other into this journey. And I invite you to let something you heard in this conversation journey with you as we move from these prayers, which so often feel like a straight chain or a line, and instead might be seen as an arc of a journey that each of us individually and collectively are on. So we turn to Baruch Hu, Dear One, on page 16. And I invite you to rise and body your spirit. Remaining lifted in our spirits, we turn to the Shema, the invitation to live, to listen, to witness the unity of all life. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. You may be seated. And we continue with those acts of love for the Ve'ahavta, our response to the unity of all life. filling our days and our nights with love. Page 18, put your finger in page 20. We'll move directly to page 20. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם מאוד על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם. And those words that speak of a redemption in a world that is so far from yet being redeemed. Mi chamocha, the bottom of page 21. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Continue with Ashkivenu? Yeah. Just testing their goodwill over there. This prayer for peace and shelter in the dark night, page 22. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'almideinu malkeinu lechaim. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'almideinu energy for one more text study? Yeah, come on, say it with enthusiasm. Either that or I'm calling on you. I know. The teacher back there laughed hysterically. All right, can we bring up the next text? Anybody want to be a reader for me? Add your voice. Bill, thanks. Just into the mic so everyone can hear. Thank you. And I think, just so you know, we're only going to do the first two of these. Thanks.
We may view the Amidah as a ladder reaching up to heaven, a ladder whose goal, whose highest rung is peace. Though the final paragraph is a prayer for peace for all Israel, we can use our ascent through the Amidah to symbolize our own quest for inner peace. Peace in the world becomes easier to achieve when we are at peace within ourselves. Rabbi Yeshua of Skinin,
Can't prove it's not how you say it.
in the name of Rabbi Levi, said, "Great is peace, for all the blessings and the prayers of the service conclude with peace. The recitation of the Shema and its blessings in the evening conclude with peace. And spread the shelter of your peace over us. The priestly blessing concludes with peace, and give you peace." Numbers 6:26. All the blessings for the Amidah conclude with peace. May the one who makes peace in the highest bring this peace upon us and upon all Israel, and let us say, Amen.
Okay, I lied on Shabbat. Let's go to the third slide since Bill's such a good reader.
Sorry.
No, back. Keep going to the, yeah, there we go.
Am I to continue?
Yes, please, thank you.
And we might do well to remember that in both Shaharit and Ma'ariv, the Amidah follows on from the Shema and her blessings. Our recognition of the unity of all things spiritual and physical should lead to a deep feeling of inner peace and the desire to promote peace in the world.
Thank you, Bill. Thanks. So the pattern, according to this rabbi, Rabbi Larry Tabik, is peace, right? You could just say it over and over again, right? I mean, if you just had to boil all of your prayers down to a single word, you could. And it's because they all end the same way. In what? In peace, right? We just finished singing Hashkivenu, shelter us in the shelter of peace. And we're about to move into the Amidah that ends with us singing Oseh Shalom, may the one who makes peace above make peace for all. And, you know, he points out that some of it comes from this idea or our connection to that Shema, that unity, that oneness that is both so simple and so hard to hold on to in a world that is so far from peaceful, right? And so almost as if the rabbis have built this structure to say to us over and over and over again, is it peaceful? Are you peaceful? Is it peaceful? Are you walking a path of peace? What would you need to find peace? How will you find yourself, your community, your world, journeying in this way towards peace? And so we have 1,000 words. And tonight I ensured that it was 1,100 more, way more than 100. As my kids would say, 1,000,000 billion more, Ima. That is how many words you added to tonight's service. 1,000,000 billion. And they would have said it was such love and respect. Oh, the respect they would have offered in that sentence. They're not watching. They can't prove it's not true. And yet it could all be boiled down for all the words. To peace. Shalom. To living in that wholeness, that shleimut that we seek. And so as we turn to these words of the Amidah, I invite you to find a space that is peaceful for you. We're going to say the 6 words that enter us into these together in community, and then we're going to take time for peace, whatever that is for you. That can be sitting on a windowsill and watching the lights, or listening for the train that will go by as soon as it is quiet. It can be lying on the back and feeling your whole body supported on this floor, or feeling your weight of your feet as they press into this ground. It can be whatever you need to have a moment of peace while you're being held here in our community. So I invite you to find your way towards something, some place, some way of being in your body, in your soul, in your voice, care, that feels peaceful to you. And we're gonna sing those 6 words. Let us pray for the ability to pray, because really all prayers are prayers for peace. I invite you to rise, find your way, be where you will. We'll take a few moments in this night of so many words for some quiet. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agi tehilatecha. celebrate those hostages who have found their way home, whose tears have been tears of joy, of reunification and relief. And we are aware as well of those who are still being kept hostage, those who are not free. And we made a promise as a larger Jewish family, a larger Jewish community, thank you, not to rest, not to forget, not to leave them alone, to keep them in our prayers. And so we turn to this prayer for those who are being held hostage still by the terrorist organization Hamas and their families. Please join me in these words. Our family, the whole house of Israel, who are in distress or in captivity, who stand either in the sea or on dry land, may the Omnipresent have mercy on them and take them out from trouble to blessing, and from darkness to light, and from oppression to redemption, now swiftly and soon. And with these faces here in our sanctuary, we turn our prayers to those who are in need of healing, healing of body, of mind, of spirit. If you are joining us digitally and are praying for someone, please add the name of the person you are praying for using the chat function. In our community, we pray for the healing of Laura Bell, Barbara Kevorkin, Bonnie Diamond, Tom Lemons, Irene Brown, Peter Feynman, Pat Urich, Frank, Andy A., Joyce, Nikki Reed, Sarah Kianowski, Ayelet Gal Bat-Chava V'her Shmuel, Stanley Roth, Debbie Gilman, Neil Daniels-Midman, Anya Cobble, Sue Boardman, and Kathy Nath. If there's someone you are praying for, somebody whose name you'd like to say in this sanctuary, I invite you to raise your hand. When I indicate towards you, say their name out loud. Cynthia Croy, Carl Schmidt, Barbara Cullen, Judy Chase, Andrea, Sue Mesmer, and Ellen Esposito. Karen Kaplan and Ruth Ginsburg. Karen. Dr. Stanley Steigal.
Barbara L. My sister, Karen Kaplan.
My cousin, Chris Turner.
For all those named, for all who seek wholeness in this broken world, we'll pray the words on page 130, all the way on the right-hand side, Debbie Friedman's Misha Barak.
Source of
with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, conclude this section of prayer with a prayer for peace. Oseh Shalom Bimromav, the bottom of page 31.
We're bringing up a ringer for this
Oh,
one.
yes.
Our friend Joelle, who actually sings in real life.
We bought a handheld.
Can you what?
Borrow the-
Oh, yes, you can.
Oseh Shalom Bimromav, Uyaseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru, Amen. Oseh Shalom Bimromav, Uyaseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru. Amen. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael.
You're all hired. We turn to page 44 as we prepare to conclude our service this Shabbat evening. If you are joining us digitally, we invite you to share the name of the person you are remembering using the chat function. Here in our community, we stand in acknowledgement of the yahrzeit of James Albert, the husband of Maura. And we are in the year of memory for Kayan Liss, for Duffy Brodsky, for Lois Lineal, Eliza Stern-Geyer, Caroline Hirschfeld, and Florence Foreman. If there is someone you are remembering, someone whose yahrzeit it is or whose presence just feels particularly close to the surface, whose name you'd like to bring into this sanctuary, I invite you to raise your hand so I can call on you and you can say their name out loud.
Rochelle Gray.
David Abraham.
My mom, Stephanie Malkin, died 8 years ago, and my brother-in-law, Brian Espen, passed away 3 weeks ago.
My brother, Edward Moses.
For all those named, for all who have no one to say their name for them, we become one community of memory with the words of Mourner's Kaddish. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach irte v'yamlich malchute, v'chayechon uvyomechon, uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mivarach le'olam ulamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudusha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'imru amin. Yehi shlama rabba min shemayim V'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amin. Oseh shalom mimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amin. May the one who makes peace in the heavens make peace for us, peace for all Israel, and peace for all who dwell on earth, as together we say, Amen. You may be seated. A few brief announcements before we conclude our terrifically texty Shabbat service. Gratitude doesn't begin to be enough to explain how I feel about you three. And in particular, how you exemplify so much of what is Shir Tikvah. And I, with all my heart, thank you. They always say, tell us if you need anything. Well, these three didn't wait for me to say, guys, I really stink at this. They just said, here's a thing we can do to help. So I hope each of us goes into the week and sees a person, and we think, maybe I could help. And we offer. Telling you you're going to make that person's week. And if you're lucky, you're going to make 30 or 40 of your newest friends' weeks too, with your incredible joy and talent. So thank you, you three. Tomorrow, 10 a.m., we have Torah study. Its hybrid form is where, you're on the other side. Oh, I knew that earlier in the service, but you're usually there. Is it hybrid tomorrow? Hybrid. 10:30. That's right, you're right. I looked at the wrong 10 o'clock thing. So 10 o'clock, we have a Hanukkah Tot Shabbat. It's great, fun, if any of you want to come. 10:30, we have Torah study. 4 o'clock, we have another opportunity to study Torah with Torah on tap. Bring your favorite beverage. There are snacks and food provided, and we'll meet downstairs and we'll nibble our way towards the end of Shabbat and into some great learning. We didn't get to any of the Torah texts I had prepared for tonight, so they're all going to tomorrow. And we have an amazing opportunity to learn together again in community. We have the performance starting at 3 o'clock, exploring the legacy of Hedy Lamar in celebration of our Temple Shir Tikvah Legacy Circle. 3 o'clock on Sunday, incredible opportunity, incredible one-woman show, and it should be a really great opportunity for our community. And we look forward to that. We also have next Monday is another Gender and Judaism class for our adult ed. So I think that gets me through the next email that goes out. And then you're on your own. But we do have all of this wonderfulness ahead, which is great because what final song did we decide on? O-Z. Because it is going to strengthen us as we have been strengthened together here in community, and we end in words of strength in community with the words O-Z v'zimrat yah. My strength comes from this place. And then we'll do Kiddush and Motzi up here, and there'll be an oneg downstairs.
Our friend Joelle, and she's never heard the song before, but you're going to witness a professional musician pick it up for the first time. Believe in her.
Please rise in body or in spirit as you are able for Kiddush. Ellie, I hope you forgive me. Yeah, she looks excited, huh? So, one of the great joys, truly, and there are so many, of being a congregational rabbi, is watching the community grow around you. For certain of us, that means that our hair is graying. And for others, it means that who is in our family is changing, right? But for certain demographics of a community, it actually means growing, okay? It means like you came in and you were little and you are just not little anymore, okay? I have no better way to describe you, but not little. You are my size, right? But that is not always, that was not always the case. Dan, can we do it? And so I just want to point out a little growth that has happened in our community, because it might not be so obvious to you, but it is incredibly obvious to me, and it brings me great joy to have witnessed it. Truly, it's not going to be terrible, I promise. I don't know if it's even going to happen. We'll see. But we're going to bless this. Oh my God! We're going to bless this together, and we're going to notice that I look no older, but some of us do. And what a blessing it has been to stand with you and pray with you and lead with you tonight after all of these years of having known you, and what an incredible human being you are becoming. So thank you for our leadership. Please join with me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. It's the real stuff. Yeah. You're gonna let me put that picture up, Polly.
You have to drink all of it.
Uncover for me. So we reach our hands out, we become a chain, a community of connection, braided like the challah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Will you rip and eat? All right. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat
everyone.
shalom.
Demonstrate.